Here's my 2017 M240i. Obviously has not been taken care of. It's been sitting for a while. Gotta get the roof done. This was vinyl that I just let get to this point, but I tried taking it off and it's a pretty big pain. I'm probably just gonna get it repainted. And I also have some rear end damage from an accident. It's not too bad. Obviously, it's well beyond time to take care of this thing. It's got about 40,000 miles and doesn't need much other than maintenance, some aesthetics as you saw in the intro, and today we're doing some coding. So originally this car was coded using ESYS a few years ago, and then when BimmerCode came out, I moved to that. So today we're doing ProTools. I just purchased it. I did use it to reset everything to factory defaults, which hasn't been done in a few years. So I drove around like that for a few days and it's time to change. So I thought it'd be interesting to try different adapters with ProTools. Here we have the MHD Universal Wi-Fi adapter, VP Bluetooth adapter, which from what I understand ProTools doesn't work with any Bluetooth adapters other than their own BimmerGeeks adapter. I also have the BimmerGeeks Expert cable and a random Ethernet cable. So there is a couple things to note. For one, ProTools only works with Android. So I do have a Nexus 6A here, as well as an OTG adapter. This one's USB-C to USB-A. BimmerGeeks did include one with the ProTools package that I bought. The problem was that it didn't work out the box. So it was really cheap. I wouldn't trust it, especially if you're supposed to have a really good connection. It just didn't feel like, even if it did work, I wouldn't want to use it. This one's from Amazon. I'll put the link in the description. I also have an Ethernet to USB-A adapter. This is for the Ethernet cable. So if you're not using an Ethernet cable, you don't have to worry about it. So I'm going to start with just testing the adapters and see which ones work and which ones don't. I'm going to get the VP out of the way since basically I know it's not going to work. Now, since I know it's not going to work on ProTools, first I want to check with a different app to see if it connects to the car and everything is okay. It's not connecting at all. So it seems like the one time I'm trying to record with the VP, it's broken. Yeah, so it looks like the VP wasn't going to work anyway, but okay, so next up is the MHD Universal. This one is supposed to work, so let's try it out. So MHD uses Wi-Fi, so go into your settings, network settings, internet, and MHD eNet 1888. Alright, so it's connected. Open up ProTools. And so it's going to say it has no internet access because obviously it doesn't. With the MHD, you're going to want to not put it on your Wi-Fi. Actually, you're going to want to use the Ethernet protocol. So hit connect. Looks like everything's working. Alright, it just connected with the PH suite. Let's just try to do a scan. Alright, looks good. I'm going to use the Ethernet adapter. I'm skipping the BimmerGeeks Bluetooth for now, and I'm going to use that for the final coding. This is rather annoying. I had to move the car around because the Florida sun was getting way too intense. I'm going to give this one more shot. Yeah, for whatever reason, it's just not working. Let's give it a shot with the iPad, which I know it works with the iPad because this is how I actually flashed my car originally with MHD. Oh, it'd be nice if the ignition was on. Okay, well, let's go to the BimmerGeeks Expert cable. I'm gonna try the BimmerGeeks Bluetooth adapter, but I think it's just the car at this point. So that worked. So this is the BimmerGeeks Bluetooth adapter. So far the Wi-Fi adapter from MHD, the universal Wi-Fi adapter, and the BimmerGeeks one works, but I can't get any of the cables to work. Okay, I'm gonna pack it up for the day probably and just see if it wants to comply tomorrow. So
12 seconds later.
Well, since the coating didn't work out, as you may have noticed, the driver's side brake light has 2 bulbs out. So I just got them in today. Let's replace them. I'm using a Harbor Freight trim tool. You can use a flathead screwdriver and anything that can really get into the longer recess, and it just pops right out. So that exposes 2 nuts. On the top one, you're gonna wanna use an extension, and they're both 10mm. This next part is optional. I'm gonna actually apply tape around the headlight so that we can pry it out. Now this is just to protect the car from any accidental damage. Now usually I'd also place it here, but since I have to replace this bumper anyway, I'm not worried about it. With one of my trim tools, I'm gonna try to pop it out. There's basically like a ball in a grommet, kind of like the intake. Well, exactly like the intake. There we go. With living next to the airport, I have to take a break like every 5 minutes for a plane to pass. Anyway, so you'll just want to, I'll probably try to get a close up in a minute. There we go. Oh, I did not mean to do that, but there we go. Wait. So to take this out, you just have to get underneath this gray piece and pop it right up. It's pretty easy to do, but since this was a little too big, I had a little trouble with it. But if you have like a smaller screwdriver, you can pop it out real easy. Okay, so these are the 2 that I have to replace, which that lines up like that's what these 2. So these new ones have a silver housing and a white board, but I mean, China, right? So I'm gonna remove these. I did get it from the same place, but they probably changed this thing a million times since then. Okay. That should be it. There we go. Alright, let's pop it back in. Well, reinstall is simple. Just plug in the connector. Don't forget to push down on the gray tab, as well as put in the 2 plugs. So put the top in first, and then just line up the grommet. Oh, there we go. after plugging in the battery. I'm good coding one more shot. If it doesn't work, we'll just call it a day. Okay, so it seems like it was just the car was tired. But I have the expert cable plugged in with the same dongle, and I just plugged it in first time, and this is actually what came out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to reshoot this video tomorrow because it's getting dark and it's starting to rain. But I will catch you guys, well, in a second for you.